Alright, you guys read the title of the video. Before we do get started, please go ahead and hit this like button, hit the like button if you guys end up enjoying this video, since it really does help out the channel. And of course, subscribe if you guys are new and you guys enjoy content like this, so you don't miss out on any new videos like the one you're watching right now. Plus, I'm trying to hit 2,000 subscribers, and once I do reach my goal, I will do a Q&A. But yeah, without further ado, let's go ahead and let's get this video started. Now, kicking the list off at number 10, I do have Zion Williamson from the New Orleans Pelicans. With Zion, it is quite simple. When he's on the floor, that man is one of the best players in the NBA. He can score the ball really well. He's an alright playmaker and an alright defender. But I would like to see him expand his game outside of his ability to score the ball. But again, Zion Williamson, really good when he does play it. The issue is, he is made out of glass and he is fat. He cannot stay in shape. We'll be a little bit nice. But yeah, Zion Williamson, the main flaw with him is pretty clear. It's his inability to stay on the floor. The reason why he is at number 10 is because, you know, he only played in 29 games last year, but he was really good in those 29 games. Plus, we know how good of a player he is when he's actually on the court and playing. So, again, Zion Williamson, please, for the love of God, just stay healthy, because if you stay healthy, you will become one of the best players in the NBA. But hopefully one day we do live in a world where Zion is no longer injury prone. But last year, he did average 26 points per game, 5 assists per game, and 7 rebounds per game while shooting 61% from the field. I don't know if he will stay healthy. Let's just hope for the best with him. But at number 9, I do have Paolo Banchero from the Orlando Magic. Paolo Banchero obviously had a phenomenal rookie year. He took home the Rookie of the Year award, and I think he absolutely deserved it. Paolo Banchero, of course, his main strength is his ability to score the ball. That was his main strength coming out of college, and I mean, it translated to the NBA. He's an alright defender. I would say he definitely needs to improve his three-point shooting, and I am excited to see how he can expand his game outside of his ability to score the ball. But yeah, Paolo Banchero, he's already a really good player. I'd say he's like a good starting level player already, and I think he's going to be an all-NBA level guy in no time. And I think the Orlando Magic could really surprise a lot of people this year. I think Paolo Banchero will take a step as a player. But yeah, last year he did average 20 points per game and 7 rebounds per game while shooting 43% from the field. At number 8, I do have Evan Mobley from the Cleveland Cavaliers. Evan Mobley is one of my favorite players in the league. Defensively, he is absolutely superb. We all know that. That's easily his biggest strength as a player. He's also pretty solid on offense, but that said, he's not great on offense, and if he does want to reach his full potential, I would like to see him become an even better offensive player, because, again, he's already really good, but he was like a top 3 pick? He was a top 3 pick for a reason, so I do want to see him really take that leap offensively, so he can eventually become like an all-NBA level guy. But yeah, Evan Mobley, he's already really good, and I think he will take that leap to all-star status and eventually all-NBA status. I would like to see him improve, expand his range, and I will say he did have a poor showing in the playoffs last year, but again, he was a second-year player, and that was his first playoff series, so I guess it is a little bit fair. But yeah, Evan Mobley, really good, and last year he did average 16 points per game and 9 rebounds per game while shooting 55% from the field. At number 7, I do have Jeremy Grant from the Portland Trail Blazers. Jeremy Grant, he's a guy who I gotta be quite honest, I don't really expect him to stay with the Blazers that long. I know he signed a massive contract with them this past offseason, but the Blazers are in rebuilding mode, so I just don't really see him sticking around that long. But anyways, Jeremy Grant, he's still really good. He can score the ball well, he can shoot well, he's a solid creator, and he can defend as well. It's just that he's not exactly the best at leading his team to wins. He definitely puts up decent numbers, and he's not a bad player, but I wouldn't trust this guy, like, if he's like a top 2 scoring option on my team. But that said, like, if you're a playoff team or like a contending level team, I'd definitely love to, you know, pursue Jeremy Grant at the trade deadline if you need him. So, yeah, last year he averaged 20.5 points per game, 4.5 rebounds per game while shooting 47.5% from the field and 40% from three. But coming in at number 6, I do have Karl Anthony Towns from the Minnesota Timberwolves. Cat, offensively, he is pretty good. He can score the ball, and he's also a very good shooter, solid rebounder, and he is also a decent passer. So offensively, I would say, you know, he's got it. It's just defensively, that man is a traffic cone. And along with that, he had some pretty bad playoff performances last year, and also he did miss quite a bit of games last season as well. But that said, he is still an all-star level player. But I also do want to say one more con of his is the fact that he's not really that good when it comes to leading his teams to success. And I'm not gonna lie, I really do think that the Timberwolves could ship off Karl Anthony Towns to another team at the trade deadline this year or this next NBA offseason if they feel like if Karl Anthony Towns has some poor playoff performances, if assuming they make it, or if his issues, you know, continue to be glaring and whatnot. I definitely could see him getting traded, but last year he did average 21 points per game, 5 assists per game, and 8 rebounds per game while shooting 49.5% from the field and 37% from three, and he is still a pretty good player. Coming in at number 5, I do have Julius Randle from the New York Knicks. Julius Randle in the regular season, he is pretty good, and he definitely bounced back last year in the regular season. He can score the ball well. He can shoot. I'd say he's a decent shooter. He's a good rebounder as well. The problem is, that man is just dog shit in the playoffs. I don't know what it is. I mean, I believe he did suffer an injury right before the playoffs started, which I do think contributed, you know, to his poor playoff performances. But that said, he was still really bad in the playoffs, which really held back the Knicks as a team. And he's also not the best defender. But that said, Julius Randle is still really good. He did average 25 points per game, 10 rebounds per game, while shooting 46% from the field and 34% from three. Let's just hope that Julius Randle can finally show up in the playoffs next year, assuming the Knicks do make it there. But at number 4, we got the reigning defensive player of the year in Jaren Jackson Jr. Of course, I just said it. He did win defensive player of the year in 2023. He is an amazing defender. I would also say he is a solid scorer and decent shooter as well. The problem with Jaren Jackson Jr., or the problems I should say, is that although he is good defensively, he does have an issue when it comes to fouling. He's not the best rebounder. Plus, he had some pretty bad performances in the playoffs this past year, which did contribute to the Grizzlies going out early in the playoffs. But that said, Triple J is still really good, and I do think that if he can, you know, fix those issues when it comes to fouling and also, you know, being an even better offensive player, then the Grizzlies can really go places as a team. And last year, he averaged 19 points per game, 7 rebounds per game, 3 blocks per game, which led the league in that category, while shooting 51% from the field and 35.5% from three. But at number 3, I do have Pascal Siakam from the Toronto Raptors. Pascal Siakam, I'm not going to lie, if I could see the Raptors going in a rebuilding direction, and that would most likely mean that Pascal Siakam is traded to, you know, some team. But yeah, Pascal Siakam, regardless, is still a really good player. I do believe he is an all-star level player. He can score. He can score well. He's a solid shot creator. A pretty good playmaker as well. I think that part of his game really does get overlooked. And he is a good defender. He's just not really the best three-point shooter. And as a number 1 option, I wouldn't really trust him. He just hasn't led his team to much success as a number 1 option. And I don't really think he is a number 1 option on a championship team. But I do think he can be a pretty good number 2. And last year, he averaged 24 points per game, 6 assists per game, and 8 rebounds per game while shooting 48% from the field. But our runner-up at number 2 is Kevin Durant from the Suns. I'm going to keep this short and simple. We know Kevin Durant has been dominating the league for years. We all know that he's a fantastic scorer, a fantastic shooter. He's a solid defender as well, and he can create his own shot at a really high level as well. It's just he's just really injury prone, and there are those criticisms of like the whole super team stuff. But I mean, KD, he is capable of being a number one option on a championship level team, and KD, I mean, there's not much else to say about him besides the fact that he's really damn good. So, yeah, last year he averaged 29 points per game, 5 assists per game, and 7 rebounds per game while shooting 56% from the field and 40% from 3. But at number 1, I do have Giannis Antetokounmpo from the Milwaukee Bucks. I know the Bucks went out early in the playoffs this past year, which, believe me, that is definitely something I do mark off Giannis for a little bit. I know he missed 2 games, but the Bucks did lose to the Heat in the first round last year, which was pretty embarrassing. But that said, Giannis is still amazing. I'd still say he's like the second best player in the league. He can score well. He's a pretty good playmaker. He can rebound, and he's one of the best defensive players in the league. It's just he's not the best shooter, and of course I mentioned the fact that the Bucks did lose to the Heat in the first round last year. But yeah, not much else to say about Giannis besides the fact that he's really damn good, and he averaged 31 points per game, 6 assists per game, and 12 rebounds per game last year while shooting 55% from the field. But hey man, with that said, that'll be it for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. It really does mean a lot to me. Again, like, subscribe, do all of that stuff, and check me out on social media. The links to my Twitter and Instagram are in the description below. But without further ado, I'm out, you guys.